The UN says the numbers have now far exceeded the international support Turkey has received. Well, Professor Gerald MacLean is the founding co-director of Turkish Studies at Britain's Exeter University. He's also written a book on the history of Turkey since the 1950s. He's with me now. Professor MacLean, thank you for being with us. How potentially destabilising is all this for Turkey?
Well, potentially considerably. I think the big issue behind what Gül is saying is not so much that this is news, but that there is coming up the president of the parliamentary elections, because of course at the moment Prime Minister Gül is serving as an interim Prime Minister. So in terms of destabilisation, I think what he and President, I keep getting them confused, since they've just changed, yes. That's right, and President Erdogan, they're looking to the next round of elections and the voting population. Now, the voting population, of course, is not really that bothered about Syria the way it's worried about the Kurdish initiative, and that divides the electorate. There are AK supporters who are in support of it, and there are non-AK supporters who are obviously very keen to have a resolution with the Kurd in their own country, but there are members of both contingencies that are still very hostile to any initiative with what many consider to be the Kurdish threat, and that is the balance, I think, that is really being threatened by the sudden collision of the Syrian and its international implications and the Kurdish crisis, sort of two different historical trajectories coming up at a crucial moment in the AK party's rise to power and President Erdogan's ambitions for 2023.
Looking at the economic impact, it's not just this enormous influx of refugees, it's actually Turkey's standing as a place that international investors want to be.
Yes, that's right. This has been, at the moment, signs continue to look good. 9.8% growth in direct foreign investment going into Turkey is getting reported as in the last couple of days. What I think is going to fall off is the soft credit that a lot of Turkish construction companies have been receiving, and that is a general global issue, this business of easy credit, going in to establish, as the AK have done, enormous building projects that have enabled people to move into new modern housing units, etc. And of course that puts a strain on the internal credit facilities over mortgages, and already in certain areas I believe there are problems with people being able to find the money to pay for their mortgage. So that would be the point of internal problem for the AK and for the economy. Otherwise, the Turkish economy has been suffering generally from all of these problems in the areas for some years now. They have no export market through Syria and Iraq because of the problems. They have a very difficult time shipping goods out through Egypt. They've lost their Middle Eastern markets for their own goods. 30% of their ceramic trade has dropped off in recent months to Africa and the Middle East. So internally, export is dropping, and that's going to worry the creditors and the foreign investors who are already worried by having Erdogan in the presidency, as we remember from August.
Looking at the position of Turkey in the region, internationally, briefly, if you will, how important is it to have a stable Turkey right there?
Well, I think it's absolutely crucial. What amounts to a stable Turkey, of course, is one of the issues in dispute. The one thing no Turkish government could tolerate would be an autonomous Kurdish force in control of Kobani. And I think that's part of the problem, that whoever they let in to rescue Kobani, if it gives any initiative towards some sort of autonomous Kurdish enclave there, this is utterly intolerable. So the stepping off makes political sense. It may not make humanitarian sense. On the other hand, of course, the great Turkish NATO army could destroy ISIL if they had US air support, but that's not going to happen either, and no one can even say that, right? It would be very easy for Turkey to wipe out ISIL, but they can't and never could and can't even dream of that, since that would indeed be a war against Syria, and the US isn't going to support that.
Professor Gerald MacLean, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Thank you, Karen.